Hi guys, today we're going to be working in the vegetable garden. We've got one project that we're doing today and I have been looking forward to this all summer long. We are finally harvesting the sweet potatoes and I couldn't be more excited because anything like sweet potatoes, onions, garlic, anything that grows underground, I love harvesting them because I've said this before, you never know what you're going to get until you harvest, and the day is finally here. So I grew the Mahone variety of sweet potatoes. I picked up the slips from Johnny Seeds and I got them in the bed June 27th. They're a 90-day harvest and they've been in the ground for almost 120 days. So I'm hoping by leaving them in a few extra weeks that they were able to form up some nice big potatoes and not just stay in the ground too long and diminish. So, you know, we'll see what we get when we get in there. But they are, from what I've read on them, I've never grown them. From what I've read, they are an extra sweet potato. They've got pink skin and a very bright orange center. And I'm really looking forward to just trying them and tasting them. So, all right guys, let's just get right into this because my excitement is up here now. So here's our bed of sweet potatoes and it is just a viney green monster and I love it. Mo and I put this trellis together so the sweet potato vines could have something to climb on because we don't really have too much room down here. So if we didn't, then these would have vined all the way down into the grass, into the walkways, and just kind of taken over this whole area. So we decided to put up the trellis and just kind of get some of that growth growing vertically, which actually turned out really nice. I mean, you can see back in here, by the way, look at our pods. They look so good. These were our sad annuals we planted. But you can see the sweet potato vine is just trailing all the way over there. So it's definitely liked its spot. Now, I did cut the water to this about a week ago and we've been pretty dry. We haven't had any rain. So I'm hoping that this soil is pretty dry. Yeah, it looks pretty dry and fluffy. So hopefully we can get these out of the ground with minimal resistance. So if we get in here close, you can see that a lot of the leaves are starting to turn yellow and die back, which is pretty good indicator that they're ready to be harvested. We haven't had a hard freeze yet, but because they've been in the ground for almost 4 months, I think they are more than ready to be harvested. It's also a good idea to cut the water a few days before you're ready to harvest. That allows the soil to dry out and it makes harvesting a lot easier because the soil is not heavy and wet. So you can get in there with your fork and lift the potatoes out a lot easier than if the soil were wet. So typically what I would do to start harvesting is cut all the vines off the plants and get rid of them. That way I can see the individual plants and figure out where to start harvesting. But because we grew this on a trellis, these vines have just wiggled and wriggled all throughout here. So I'm just going to go in and trim all the vines off all the plants. And I've got, I think, 8 or 9 plants in here. I packed it full, so fingers crossed. So I'm just going to go in and cut all the vines off all the plants and then just lift this trellising system up and out. That way we don't have this in our way when we're trying to use a pitchfork to get in here, and it should just make everything a lot easier. All right guys, I'm gonna get working on removing the trellis, and then when I'm ready to harvest, I'll show you how I'm gonna do it on the first plant, and then I'll just work my way through all of them and show you what we end up with. I'm so excited. Also, real quick, this is all we're gonna need today. I've got my hand trowel, I've got a digging fork, my gloves, our pruners for cutting all the vines, and a kneeling pad if I need it. And I'm gonna put all the potatoes in our cart over here. All right guys, let's harvest some potatoes. So real quick, just to show you, this is one of the plants right here. And all I'm doing right now is just coming in and just nipping all of these stems and branches so we can get this all removed. And I'm leaving just a little bit so I can know where each plant is. So they should all look like this when we're done. I forgot I had a jalapeno plant in here. That's pretty much done. Hi. Give me a kissy. Good boy. All right, guys, here's what the bed looks like. Sans vine and trellis. We've got all the vines cut, trellis removed, and we're left with our main plants right here. And if this is an indication of our harvest, I'm excited. Look, it's a little itty bitty one. Okay. And here's our mound of sweet potato vine. Look at that. So I'm going to start with this plant in the middle here, and I'm just going to dig around and see if I can feel for any potatoes and remove those with my hands and kind of clear out the center a little bit. That way, when we get ready to use our digging fork or our hand trowel, we won't have such a crowded space, because you don't want to go too close to the plant with your digging fork and puncture any of the potatoes. So we're going to start with this one and see what we get. Here we go. I'm just going to dig in here, and let's hope we have something. Some skinny, scrawny potatoes. I can feel a few right along the edge of the bed. So I'm just going to go into this plant, see what we've got going on here. Now I am going to use my hand trowel for this, and I'm going to go about 4 to 5 inches away from the center so I don't damage any potatoes. Oh, look at that. They are really pink. Okay. Yay. So one thing you want to be careful with is how you handle the potatoes once they come out of the ground, because the skin is very fragile and it hasn't cured yet. It hasn't dried and hardened. So it's, excuse me. So it's very easy to just rub the skin off, and you want to keep the skin as intact as possible, because we need to cure these for about 10 to 14 days to allow the starches to concentrate and make the potato sweet. Because if, unlike regular potatoes where you can harvest them right away and eat them, these are not sweet. They need that curing time so the sugars can develop. Otherwise, they're not going to taste like much. They're not going to be sweet potatoes. Hi, look. Now that I've made a little bit of room in the bed, I can get my digging fork in here and harvest these potatoes. Well, it's not the abundant harvest that I was hoping for, but we did get a few potatoes that we can cure and eat. So I'm actually okay with that. And I will just chalk this up to a good learning experience. So I actually only had 6 plants in there. I think a few of them fizzled out, but we did get a few decent sized potatoes. So again, like I'm happy with it. We got, quite a few like fingerling potatoes, but I can still cure all these and eat them because they're still good, but there was just a lot of roots and a lot of little tiny tubers, nothing really formed. And I dug all the way down to the native soil in that bed. And, this is what we ended up with. So I'm actually good. I'm okay with that. This one looks like something got to it. So I'll have to toss that. But all in all, not bad. And you can see this is how they grow. So we planted this and it sprouts its roots and then it forms its tubers or potatoes. And this is the whole root system. It's pretty interesting and fascinating to think that all this is happening underground. Although, I'm not gonna lie, I would have liked a little more, but I'm happy with it. Personally, I think it's my fault. I think it was probably a little bit of inconsistent watering during that heat wave because I was trying to balance out watering it enough, but not over-watering it and rotting out the tubers. And I think by erring on the side of caution, I underwatered them. So they didn't have all of that moisture to help develop them. I did fertilize them, but again, with insufficient water, they're not gonna be able to take up the nutrients. So it all just kind of sits there. I mean, they will, but not as quickly and easily with more moisture in the soil. So I will try again next year, and I'm gonna try in different beds because I'm wondering also, when we planted these, we still had the fig tree over in the back, so it was blocking quite a bit of sun for over a month. So I'm wondering if that potentially stunted their growth as well. So I don't know, but I think next year I'm going to try again. I'll get a couple different other varieties along with these, and I'm just going to plant like 1 or 2 in each bed and just kind of gauge which ones do best in what bed, and then we can just learn from there. And really, to me, gardening, that's all it is. It's trial and error, just learning and trying, testing, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't work. And like I've always said, I'm going to show everything to you guys, whether it's great success or it's like, and I consider this still a success because we do get to eat from the garden. And let's be serious, there's nothing better than homegrown. At least to me, I just think it tastes so good. So learning experience, we'll pick it up next year with more potatoes. Anyways, guys, that's it for this video. Oh, no, it's not. So curing them, on the website, it says you want to cure them in a dark room, 70 to 80 degrees with about 80% relative humidity. I do not have that in my house because that would have to be during the middle of summer with no air conditioning. So I'm going to put these in the basement or in the gym, on the floor, under a table where it's dark. It's about 70 degrees, but it's about 50% humidity, and I'm going to cure them there. So, and it does take about 10 to 14 days for them to fully cure, dry out, the skins harden up a little bit, but all the starches concentrate into those sugars, and that curing time is what makes the sweet potato sweet. So I will report to you guys when we cook them up and let you know how they taste. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.